Hello, friends. We are live today. We are taking a little chill break. It's actually something I'm very excited about, but we have to be very chill about it because we're talking about rest and leisure and relaxation. I'm very psyched for today's guest. He is one of my favorite authors. I'm setting it up right now. Hold on. Oh, I can't seem to spot this. He wrote a book that I adored. I never read books twice. I read this one twice. I loved it. It's called Rest. He's also written many other books. I was like, well, let's have him talk about this rest revolution idea. These are my words, not his. I overshoot things. I make things too big. But he's here, so I'm gonna go ahead and invite him in as I get. Oh, present. Okay, let's see this. Sorry, I always have so much trouble getting the game started. But we'll just get started right here. Here we go. Okay, and here we are. Alex, view request. All right, we've invited him in. Let's see if this. Alex Pang, hi.
Hey, how's it going, Eric?
It goes good. Thank you so much for joining us on What's the Big Idea. I am in loungewear in honor of rest, in honor of relaxation. I'm in a hoodie and a robe. It's quite hot.
Wow.
I'm so psyched that you said yes to playing our game. I loved your book, Rest. I'm excited to get into the other ones. For those who haven't read your book, tell us a little about kind of its thesis and what it talks about.
Sure. So, rest is about sort of the secret role that rest plays in the lives of really creative and prolific people. So, like Nobel Prize winners and famous authors and composers. And it's about how how these people discovered the value of rest for, as a stimulus to creativity and as sort of a source of renewal and of sustainability, and the science behind that, what neuroscience and psychology has learned in the last couple of decades. It helps explain why rest has this value, and what we can learn from these sort of high performers but great resters about how to bring more rest into our own lives.
I really loved it, and I think especially a lot of books in this kind of arena are more like how to make time in your busy life. And this was really like, hey, we're not going to do any of the kind of business speak stuff. It's like pure science and rest forward. I really loved it. It felt so different than from all these other books. And you've got the goods and you've got the research to back it up. And again, I'm so psyched that you're playing our game. I'm going to jump right in. I no rest on this game. Sorry, lame. I'm sure people do that to you all the time. So basically, for those who have never played before, such as yourself, what we have is 5 questions that are leading up to a big idea. And these are escalating in difficulty. You're going to play for a huge amount of fake money that you can potentially fake win. And we are giving you a lifeline. Oh, yes, we're giving you a lifeline if you want to ask the hive mind. If you get stumped on any of these, though they're right up your alley, we'll see. If you get stumped on any of these, you can say, ask the hive mind, and we'll go to the comments and we'll find out if someone else can help you out on one of these trivia questions. But it all leads up to this big idea at the very end. Does that all make sense to you?
All makes sense. Sounds good.
I'm deliberately trying to be more peaceful as I do these, and I feel like I'm failing. I have a need to get excited and all this stuff, but with you, you're very relaxing. Let's get started. I'm going to flip it around to the questions. All right. Yes, we have a little sneak preview of my living room. What's the big idea? Here we are. This is you. I particularly love this author headshot. I think it grabs you. And today we're talking about leisure. A big part of rest. So we've got 5 questions about the concept of leisure. The first one is of course worth 1 million fake dollars. Let's see how
Woohoo.
you do. What is a leisure suit? Is it a suit-like outfit you wear when not at work? A lawsuit for better working hours or any clothes Alex Pang wears becomes a leisure suit.
I love the shout out in number three, and I certainly appreciate the play on words for number two, but in this case, I am going to go with number one.
Absolutely no hesitation there. Yes, it is a leisure suit. I got some samples here for
Wow.
those who might be too young to remember the leisure suits. Did you ever sport a leisure suit? Do you own one?
I don't think I ever wore one, but I am young enough to remember them.
They exist.
And my memory is that they were inevitably made out of some kind of hyper modern, for 1975 material like polyester or some sort of like double layer polyester even. So you're twice as relaxed.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
But,
yeah, more polyester equals more relaxation for sure.
The notion that in the shadow of like C. Wright Mills and Organization Man and so forth, that the way you would relax now is to choose a particular kind of suit for it really was an idea of its time.
Yes, so, maybe not a big idea, but an idea of its time for sure. Yes. Well, you obviously got that one super quickly. So you have already 1 million fake dollars. No need for those to ask the hive mind quite yet. Our next question. We're picking it up. This is worth 10 million fake dollars. 10 million. So here we go. In 1948, the UN declared leisure a what? Is it a human right, a public good, or grounds for an invasion?
Well, this is about 10 times as difficult as the previous one. The sort of scale of fake prize.
That's right. We're very
exactly right on. So, grounds for invasion is certainly an interesting option. I mean, I think that there was an awful lot that was happening in international law and kind of concepts of sort of just warfare and deterrence in the wake of, in the early years of the Cold War and the nuclear age. However, I think that public good or human rights seem a little bit more likely. And between those two, I would argue, I would go more for the first than the second. It seems to me that the UN was more interested in issues of human rights than the concept of, what constitutes a public good. So let's go with a human right.
Let's see if you are correct. The correct answer is a human right. Yes,
all right.
Article. I mean, look at this. I was floored. Everyone has the right to rest and leisure, including reasonable limitation of working hours. But it's right there in the UN Declaration of Human Rights. I love that.
That's awesome.
Huge. But you deduce that one correctly. You've still got your lifeline of Ask the Hive Mind. We'll see if you can, if you need it for this $50 billion question.
Oh, man.
What does the term karoshi refer to? Work-life-sleep balance, occupational death, or evil Yoshi? Karoshi.
My kids and I played a lot of Mario Kart at one time. And I don't remember there being a karoshi character.
Sure.
It might have been one of those little spinning shells. Though I'm gonna say for the moment that it was not evil Yoshi.
All right.
And then the work-life sleep balance. That you could imagine a universe in which the word karoshi is, this is like some sort of startup that offers a cool app and a mattress that you can keep for 90 days for free. However, I happen to know that that Japanese is one of the few languages, along with Korean, that have had to invent their own specific words for working yourself to death. And in Korean, it's kwarosa, and in Japanese, it turns out it is none other than karoshi.
Oh, my Lord. You fooled me. You did that from the get-go. Absolutely. Occupational death. This was just published a couple days ago, karoshi culture, a warning, and now it's kind of spreading everywhere. We're seeing a lot more of that, a lot of the opposite of leisure. Congratulations. You got 3 out of these 5 right. You are saving that Ask the Hive Mind. Perhaps you'll need it for this 4th question right before our last one. This one's worth, $500 billion. This is huge. You could rest a long time with the $500 billion, never have to work again. What is a 996 culture? working 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week, firing 4 out of every 1,000 workers, or something too risque to explain?
The something too risque to explain, that sounds like it would be leisurely, but that kind of thing turns out always to be a lot more work than you think. So we're gonna drop that one
Okay, yeah.
for the
Process
moment.
of
It's just,
elimination, not
I
doing
mean,
that one.
the amount of calisthenics and stretching you got to do beforehand, that just disqualifies it as leisure. Um, the fire
Mhm.
okay, firing 4 out of every 1,000 workers, that would be more plausible if you were firing 996 out of every 1,000 workers and keeping only four. Something like the management training program at an investment bank or something like this.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Um,
could see that. Yeah.
so, the only thing that leaves is this, sort of this Chinese concept of working 9 a.m. that sort of success for companies like, Huawei, or, Weibo, etc., depends upon working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week, which is only to be succeeded, some say, by 007 working from midnight to midnight 7 days a week.
Jeez. That is hilarious. I never even. Oh, that's fantastic. Yes, that's the next step. But I'm going to assume you are locking in that answer because, of
I'm going to
course,
lock in the first.
it is absolutely correct. Yes, it's according to the New York Times, China's version of hustle culture. Tech workers are sick of it. You are flying through these. You got one question left. It's the big one. So on what's the big idea? We like to highlight big ideas that are on the cusp, that haven't quite arrived yet. We did all the trivia, things that do exist. Our next one, this is where I present a solution or a proposal, and if you think it's real, actually, I've got this whole explainer on a card. Real big or real fake. If you think it's real, you say real big. It's a real big idea. If you think we made it up, you say real fake. And of course, because it is our final question, it is worth a whopping $5 fake. Here we go. This idea, big idea, real or fake, the 3 day work week. Now, I know you're very familiar with the 4 day work week. But one group is pushing for nationwide 3 day work weeks across the country. Employees can choose Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedules, getting 4 days off per week. Is this
Hmm.
a real proposal or something we made up?
Well, Carlos Slim, who's the sort of Mexican billionaire, did talk about how in the future we would be working 3 day weeks. And if you think about, John Maynard Keynes and Bertrand
Yeah.
Russell and their ideas in the 1920s about the economic fortunes of our grandchildren, what they were proposing in the area of 15 to 20 hours does come closer to a 3 day week. Um, I'm going to have to go, since we do still have the option of
Ask
going to the hive
ask the
mind.
hive mind.
Right. Now, if
Yes.
if I think the hive, do I have to accept
No,
the
you
hive
don't
mind?
have to.
Okay.
No, 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 no. You can always reject the hive mind and incur their buzzy wrath. But you
Well,
are going to ask the hive mind, correct?
I want to know
All
what the
right.
hive mind thinks of it. So is
Hive
this
mind,
is this real or fake?
is this real or fake? The hive mind. Now, anyone watching can kind of give their judgment. You don't have to know. You can take a guess. You can reason it out as we go through it. But any viewers, just in the comments, leave a little note if you think it's real, if you think it's fake. Again, just as a refresher, here we've got 3 day work week. Oh, Anne says real big. She thinks it's a real proposal out there. Any thoughts on why, Anne? And Special says also real. Any reasonings for those other than it would be nice to get a 3 day work week? Any thoughts on that? What's your hunch? Oh, employees can choose aspect. Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. How would that work? Okay, Chandler, poking some holes in it, but I think, or maybe just skeptical that employees would be allowed to choose. Uh, Alex, what's your kind of gut instinct or on this?
Well, I'm remembering in an interview that I did with a tech CEO in Korea. who had moved his company to a 4-day week, and actually recently sold that company for upwards of $4 billion. So, it's proof that you can do these shorter hours and still have, tremendous success, right?
Yeah.
And I asked him, okay, so you've moved, over the last few years, you've moved your company to a 4-day week, and this has allowed you to compete with with much bigger companies. You get all kinds of talent. You have terrific retention. So what are you going to do when the rest of the industry catches up to you and everybody
True.
else works a 4-day week? And he said, that's easy. We're going to figure out how to do a 3-day week. So, I think so. What that tells me is that the idea of moving to a 3-day week is this is one I think that is totally plausible in the future. But
Uh-huh.
I think we gotta get more companies to a 4-day week first in order to get there. So,
Sure.
as much as I would love to say that this is real, that you know I'm gonna have to go with, at least as of June 2021, that this is fake.
All right, let's see. It is it is a fake. You are correct. You are 5 for 5. A 3-day week, for those of you who might have the propensity to cheat, it is a Wikipedia page. It was actually almost the opposite of what we're talking about. It was a time in the UK when the government mandated factories shut down to only do a 3-day week because they had an energy crisis. So it wasn't about like getting more rest time. It was about squeezing as much as possible. Alex,
It was
you
a
got
coal
five
miner
out of.
strike.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. No, I honestly, you're 5 for 5. You take home all the fake money. I just wanted to kind of hear more about this 4-day work week. We kind of jumped it as we went to our fake big idea,
Right.
but yes, it seems like more and more companies are adopting this.
They are. Yeah.
What do you know about it? How likely are we going to see this kind of more broadly?
What do I know about it? Well, it just so happens that I wrote a book about it called Shorter, which came out last year. And I look at about 100+ companies around the world in a variety of industries that have moved to 4-day weeks or other kinds
Yeah,
of shorter work weeks without cutting salaries, which
yeah,
is critical. Also without reducing productivity or sacrificing, customer service or other kind, or profitability.
yeah.
And and in Shorter, I explain how it is that companies are able to do this, what steps they take, what the pitfalls are, how they avoid them, and what benefits you see to employers, to employees, and and even to clients or customers. Um, and I think that what I find is that, number one, this is a global movement. You know,
Yeah.
it's it's something that, some of the two of the countries that actually have the largest number of companies who are experimenting with this are Korea and Japan, places where obviously overwork is a very big thing. It's also something that is not just like creative firms and, places with like infinite deadlines. It's restaurants, it's garages, it's, there are nursing homes that have moved some of their staff to shorter work weeks. So it's not just something for like elite creatives. It's for, sous chefs and nurses assistants as well. And then, it's also in a much wider range of industries than we think, and is much more attainable than we often imagine. Here in Silicon Valley, I talk sometimes to companies
Yeah.
about sort of how it is that this is happening. And, these are places where, like, sort of you can talk to them about like time travel, or, satellites beaming internet access 24/7 to neural implants.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, yeah, that's just like, there's just like some technology issues we got to settle before we can we can do that, but that's like kind of trivial. And then you say, but what about working a 4-day week? And I was like, oh, be gone, sorcerer,
It's impossible.
with your evil notions of time. You know, good God. But but the it turns out that the sort of that the other way to come at it is to look at how people actually spend their time at work.
Yeah.
And you find that people, there are studies that say that we waste an average of 2 hours a day on meetings that are too long, on multitasking, on distractions, this other stuff, that one quick question from a colleague that turns into a 10-minute diversion. And so, in a sense, if 2 hours out of an 8-hour day, what that means is that the 4-day week is actually already here. It's just buried underneath all this stuff. And
Yeah.
if you can just get rid of those layers of bad practice and poor management and meetings that run too long, then you can do it's actually possible to work 4 day, to do 5 days worth of work in 4 with no loss to anybody. So
Yeah.
that's what the book argues, and that's what I continue to actually research now. Looking at new countries that are doing it, and new companies that are doing it.
Yeah. I really jumped out to me was when you were saying how the kind of practical tips that a company can take to avoid the pitfalls. Because I think a lot of people will think that a 4-day work week, that's just kind of like Pollyannish sort of wishful thinking. Yes, it would be nice if we all got an extra day of vacation. And you're kind of saying, yeah, there are pitfalls. And it's not just, you can't just say like, all right, nobody come in on Wednesday and then you're done. You're talking about like, what are the steps you have to put into place so that it actually works and you still get your work done and you end up with a better company and more well-rested people working at it. I love
Exactly.
that. I love that it's not Pollyannish. It's practical.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and in fact, companies the companies that take it on do so for very practical reasons, right? They've been hemorrhaging people and they need to fix their recruitment and their retention.
Yeah.
Or the founder who is absolutely essential to, whose vision is, a lot of what drives the company is going to burn out if they keep working the way that they are for another year. Or there's
Yeah.
some other kind of, existential threat or productivity issue, something that is going to be super familiar to just about any company. And, so these companies are not going into it trying to like reinvent capitalism or rethink the relationship between time and productivity. The question is, how do we attract better people and keep them?
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that they're trying to figure out. And and the 4-day week turns out to be a great solution to a whole range of problems that contemporary businesses have been, have been trying for decades to solve, usually with different piecemeal programs,
Sure.
right? One
Gym
thing for trying to
memberships.
reduce stress, a gym membership, other, sort of other stuff for like working parents, but
Yeah.
not to sound like one of these internet commercials about the one crazy trick that lets you do everything, but the 4-day week is actually one thing that solves a whole bunch of different problems simultaneously
Yeah.
at no cost to companies. So,
I love that. It is a big idea, and I know even as we were talking about this, you're like, oh, an extra day off, is that like a big world changing idea? And like when we had spoken, we're talking about going to Mars and reversing climate change. It's an extra day in the weekend, a big idea. But I love that kind of story you were telling about Silicon Valley people being like, they'll take on these ambitious ideas, but for some reason they think this is impossible, and it's not impossible. It's a big game changer. I hope if there are any other business owners and people in kind of managerial positions start to kind of tackle this big idea. I think it is doable. I mean, you've kind of got a whole book showing how it is doable with examples. So I think that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on getting a perfect score, a very rare feat for our players. But you proved you got the goods. You know your stuff. Anything else you'd like to plug before we go? I know Shorter is out now. Anywhere else people can find you?
You can find me on, well, obviously on Instagram, right here. And then on Instagram and Twitter, I am Ask Pang, AskPang. And then my website for sort of me and my consulting company is strategy.rest. Rest is now a top level domain, which is very convenient for me. And then,
Fantastic.
the last thing is if people are interested in sort of, in getting behind the idea of a 4-day week, there is actually a campaign that is coming to help to help promote this.
I'm on
And
board.
yeah,
Yes, love it.
it'll be a petition for it'll be a petition that people can sign on to. There's also a dimension where sort of companies can pledge to sort of trial a 4-day week starting in January. That's going to be coming in I think sort of the end of June, and that will be 4dayweek.com. You can actually
Love it.
go ahead and sign up sort of to find out about it and to get notified when the petition goes live. But 4dayweek.com,
4dayweek.com.
and yeah, sort of join the movement. So,
Oh, and one last question. You posted on Twitter today. You got a giant box at your house. What's in that box?
I could take the phone over. We could do an unboxing. It's no, it's actually a sofa.
Okay.
So
I thought it'd be like a couple batteries or something, and
no,
then just
yeah,
overpacked
exactly.
it.
So yeah, quadruple Z size batteries.
Yes, exactly.
So
Well, mystery solved for those who follow you on Twitter. And again, thank you so much. 4dayworkweek.com. Everybody head over there, sign up, get notified when there can be activism towards this. I love that. Thank you so
awesome.
much, and talk soon.
All righty. Thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure.
Take care.
Okay. Take care. Bye bye.